So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. Now, the next video we getting into, right, is 3 murder cases with bizarre twists. All right, so before we get into it, you know what I'm about to tell you, man. Make sure your alarm is on. Make sure your door is locked. Your windows are secured and locked as well. All right, make sure you're safe and secure. And we're gonna check out this video now. I got some more interesting facts. I've been all about the facts today. I don't know why, but check this out. Did y'all know? And I know a lot of y'all gonna be like, well, we kind of figured that, but did y'all know that most home burglaries occur in the daytime? Now, again, I know a lot of people are gonna say, yeah, that makes sense. Most people are going to work and stuff like that. But here's some other reasonings to why, right? They may be waiting on, of course, they may be waiting on the homeowner to leave or leave the door open, hence the term what I always tell y'all, make sure the doors are locked. It said, most burglaries take place between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. 30% of the time, somebody's at home. Think about that. Somebody's at home. It said a lot of times we think most things would take place at night, right? But no, it's taking place in the day because why? We let our guard down. We're less likely to pay attention to the strange car that's down the street in the daytime than we are at nighttime. Looks a little more suspicious at night, don't it? Think about it. And that was just a few things. Let me see if I see anything else. It said another shocking statistic, 60% of the time, victims know the robbers personally. I'm gonna stop right there. Because what I always tell y'all, what L always tell y'all, I got trust issues. You know what I mean? I got trust issues. It's always the person closest to you that you don't suspect, right? Right. All right, so we're going to get into this video, man. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, join the fam. And yeah, y'all minds is like, yo, I be trying to put y'all on game, bro, and trying to keep y'all safe, give you things to think about, man. I don't be trying to ruin your mood or nothing like that. I just give you real life things to think about, fam, because I want everybody to be safe, you to be safe in your home or leave your job and go home safe at the end of the night. You know what I mean? So let's check this video out. Warnings are important. Criminally Listed is listed-based documentary channel about true crime, and this video may contain crime scene photos. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Always got to. Warnings and disclaimers are important.
Number 3, the murder of Yara Gambirasio. 13-year-old Yara Gambirasio lived in the small town of Benevento di Sopra in northern Italy. The town only had a population of about 7,000 people. On the night of November 26, 2010, she left her home to walk to a gym that was less than a mile from her home. She was supposed to drop off a stereo with her gymnastics coach and then walk right back home. 2 hours after she left, she still hadn't returned home. Her mother called her cell phone, and her call went straight to voicemail. 20 minutes later, her father called the police. A massive search was launched, but Yara was nowhere to be found. 3 months to the day of her disappearance, her body was found in a field about 6 miles south of the town. The autopsy revealed that Yara had been stabbed several times and her head had been beaten. The cause of death was exposure. Her bra was unhooked, but she had not been sexually assaulted. The police caught a break and found...
She must have fought him off. She must have fought him off. I don't know why I feel like he had those intentions, but like I said, she was on her way to the gym. She probably was, you know, tried to fight him off. Tried to fight him. That. You know what I mean? You got kids, that kind of stuff right there gets you every time.
Found male DNA on Yara been sexually assaulted. The police caught a break and found male DNA on Yara's underwear. He became known as Ignoto Uno, or Unknown One. The DNA didn't match anyone on file, and it led to one of the biggest manhunts in Italian history. The DNA of over 18,000 men was tested. A year after the murder, the police took some DNA from a man who had DNA that is similar to the DNA of Unknown One. The man, whose last name was Gambirasio, even had a connection to Yara. His mother was her family's housekeeper for years. She wasn't working for the family when Yara was murdered, but she was still friendly with them. Gambirasio was ruled out as a suspect because he was in South America when Yara was killed. The lead detective on the case knew that the Gambirasio DNA was her strongest lead, so she started to trace his family tree. She eventually got the DNA from an uncle of the man named Giuseppe Gambirasio. Giuseppe's DNA was nearly identical to Unknown One's DNA. Case closed, right?
No, why? Cause, you think you hiring a housekeeper, you vetted them, you so dead set on the housekeeper. You ain't thinking about the housekeeper's family. Housekeeper come over, they bring the kids sometime. You want to meet them because you've invited the housekeeper into your home. Naturally, as time passes, you eventually get to know. Maybe somebody picks her up. You be outside talking to the housekeeper. She introduces you to the family. You become well known with the family. This person is inside of your house. So it's only natural that eventually you become, you know what I'm saying? And it's one of the family members. You vetted the house. And I'm telling you personally because I've thought about that at times. Everybody's thought about what it would be like to have a housekeeper or a maid service or something like that because, if you have children, it gets overwhelming at times. You know what I mean? For you to work, stay on top of your job, do other things to bring in other sources of income. So some things start to fall and lack. You know what I mean? You don't have, you can't be as tentative to the cleaning as you normally would. You need help. Maybe you're falling short of that, or the laundry, or something's going lacking, the dinners. And you go this route. And to think that this could happen, man.
It turned out that Giuseppe had died 11 years before the murder in 1999.
So it's not him, okay?
The DNA samples were taken from the backs of 2 stamps that he licked when he was alive. In March 2013, his body was exhumed and DNA was taken from his femur. Experts confirmed that the DNA was very similar. They said that Unknown One was the son of Giuseppe. Giuseppe had 3 children with his wife, and they were all quickly excluded as suspects. When Giuseppe was alive, he was a bus driver, and the detective interviewed one of his former co-workers. The co-worker said that Giuseppe wasn't a faithful husband. The detective interviewed 532 women that Giuseppe knew when he was alive. She eventually came across 67-year-old Esther Arzuffi, who gave her DNA. She said she never had sex with Giuseppe. She had been married to the same man, Giovanni Bossetti, since she was 19, and they raised 3 children, a set of twins who were a boy and a girl, Massimo and Laura, and then another son named Fabio. It turned out that Esther was lying about having sex with Giuseppe because she was the mother of Unknown One. The police decided to get DNA from Massimo, whose middle name happens to be Giuseppe. In June 2014, the police set up a roadblock not far from Massimo's home. When he reached the roadblock, they asked him to do a breathalyzer test. He was sober, and they let him proceed on with his drive. They took his DNA from the breathalyzer and compared it to Unknown One's DNA. It was a match. Giuseppe was the father of Massimo and his twin sister. It also turned out that the third child, Fabio, was not fathered by Giovanni either. His father is a third man. Massimo was arrested on June 16, 2014, nearly 4 years after the murder. Besides the DNA, there's...
Bro, round of applause for the DNA testing. You know what I mean? Like, that's gotta be like groundbreaking when we started being able to do that. All right, that's next level stuff. But still, man, like, is that like that's still messing me up? That the housekeepers.
There's some circumstantial evidence linking Massimo to the crime as well. Massimo was known to frequent businesses around Yara's home. Also, his phone was turned off at 5:45 the night of the murder, and it wasn't turned back on until the next morning. Traces of lime and jute, which is a vegetable fiber used to make rope, were found on Yara's body. This suggests that the killer was a construction worker, and that was Massimo's profession. Massimo, who is married and has 3 children, denies killing Yara. He admits that it's his DNA on Yara, but he has no idea how it got there. His trial lasted a year, and his lawyers argue that his DNA only proves his presence, but does not prove that he is responsible for the murder. Massimo Giuseppe Bossetti was found guilty, and he was sentenced to life in July 2016. Number 2.
Prayers to her family, man. Prayers to her family. And y'all be careful. That's another thing to think about right there. That's something, you know what I mean? You always think, and Queen always says, because I brought it up to her several times, but her reasoning for not wanting to get somebody in the house is, eventually get somebody in the house because she feels like, those women come in and they make passes at your husband and your spouse and all that type of stuff like that. Yeah. She was like, she don't want to be in jail. But anyway, that's another dynamic to think about. You know what I mean? It's like, man, which way do I turn? Which way do I turn where I could not let my guard down? That's the thing, you can't. You can't.
The murders of Rick and Gail, July 2016. Number 2. The murders of Rick and Gail Brinks. On the evening of Saturday, November 21st, 1987, 27-year-old Rick Brinks and his 22-year-old wife, Gail Brinks, attended a wedding, and then they returned to their home in Holland, Michigan. The couple had only been married for 18 months. When the couple didn't show up for work on Monday, Rick's parents went to their home. In the driveway was Rick's Chevy Blazer. Rick's body was laying across the front seat. He had been shot twice in the face with a .22 caliber gun.
That's anger. That's anger. Somebody shooting you in the face, that's anger.
Gail's body was found on the couple's waterbed in their bedroom. She had been shot 3 times in the head. After she was shot, a throw pillow from another room was placed carefully over her face. The police were baffled by the shooting.
What were they into? Or was there an affair going on? Somebody was pissed.
The couple didn't have any known enemies, and there was no obvious motive. The house wasn't ransacked, there was cash found throughout it, and the couple were still wearing their jewelry. It wasn't long before the case went cold. Years would go by, and most members of both Rick and Gail's family kept hoping that one day the case would be solved. In 2009, the county where Gail and Rick once lived started a cold case investigation unit, and in 2011, they looked at the murder of the couple. They reviewed thousands of pages of documents and interviewed over 200 people. They thought the way the pillow was placed on Susan's face seemed to indicate that the killer couldn't look at her. That suggested the killer had some type of personal relationship with Susan.
Exactly. You could just by him and slumped over in the vehicle, shots to the face. Her, shots to the face. Like, nah, fam. Somebody is Somebody was pissed. Something ain't right here. Something was going on. Maybe they were something ain't right.
So they started to re-interview her family. One family member said that the day before Rick and Gail were killed, Gail and her brother, Ryan Wingarden, had gotten into a huge fight. Ryan wanted their parents, along with their two youngest brothers, to move their trailer onto Gail and Rick's property. Gail didn't want that to happen because her brothers were disrespectful and the couple had spent months renovating their home. The detectives then looked into what Ryan was doing the night of the murders.
Now that makes sense. Because somebody who love you is going to put the pillow over and then, you know what I mean? It's somebody who loves you is going to and do like that before it happens. So that makes a lot of sense there.
The detectives then looked into what Ryan was doing the night of the murders. His alibi was his girlfriend, Pam. The detectives read over Pam's statements and noticed some inconsistencies. In January 2013, the detectives interviewed Pam, who had been married to Ryan for over 2 decades, to see if she could clear up the inconsistencies. She originally told the police that on the night of the murders, she and Ryan were doing laundry at a friend's house. When she was re-interviewed, she clarified what happened that night. She said that they did do laundry, but they were home by 9 p.m. Ryan stayed for a little while, but then he left, and he didn't say where he was going. She said that she didn't know anything else. So the police interviewed other witnesses. One of Ryan's good friends swears that 4 hours before the bodies were found, he stopped by Ryan's house. He said that Ryan was upset, and Ryan explained that his sister and his brother-in-law had been shot to death. Another one of Ryan's sisters also remembered him saying something unusual after the murders. He supposedly said, "I wonder if I could have done this." Another witness was a woman that Ryan was dating while he was also dating Pam. She said that several days after the murders, Ryan told her that he was holding on to a big secret. She thought he was going to confess to killing his sister and his brother-in-law. Instead, it was a whole other dark secret that shed some light on the motive. Ryan said that when he and Gail were teenagers, he had forced Gail to have sex with him on several...
Oh my God, he was in love with his sister. Which sounds so weird to say, but he was in love with it. Oh my God. I told you it had to be something that made somebody in a fit of rage. And I'm thinking jealousy. It had to be
occasions.
Wow.
With this additional information, the detectives went back to interview Pam. She broke down and said that Ryan killed Gail and Rick. Hours after they were shot, before anyone else knew that they were dead, Ryan took Pam to the couple's house. He dragged her by the wrist and forced her to look at both bodies. The detectives found it odd that Pam married Ryan after he killed his sister and his brother.
You did what? Oh my God. You what? You married him after that? What do you think? It was the possibility. Like, you really want to sleep that way for the rest of your life? Knowing that it could possibly happen to you? Holy snap. Bro, I don't know, man. We gotta start doing more case studies on people, man, and just to see what their reasoning is. With y'all? I didn't think so. You ain't even gotta ask. No.
Mother-in-law, and then they had children together. They wanted to know why she didn't come to the police earlier. Pam said that while they were standing in front of his sister's dead body, Ryan swore he'd killed her and the child she had, who was fathered by a man who she met before Ryan. The detectives think that the main motivation for the murders was jealousy. Ryan hated that his sister and his brother-in-law had good jobs and they were homeowners. He was barely scraping by, selling small quantities of marijuana. He was also jealous that Gail had chosen another man instead of him.
Jealousy.
What the detectives believe happened that night was that after the wedding, Ryan went over to the couple's house. They continued to argue about their parents and their younger brothers moving on to the property. Gail and Rick kicked Ryan out, but he claimed he ran out of gas. Rick got into his vehicle to drive him to the gas station, and Gail stayed in bed. Ryan then walked up to the driver's side of Rick's vehicle and shot him through the open window. He then walked into the bedroom and executed his sister. Ryan swore he didn't commit the murders. He said he personally wanted to kill the person who murdered Rick and Gail. The jury didn't believe him.
Do y'all believe him? Y'all believe him? No, everything that they're saying fits the reason why it was done. Soon as they started talking, I was like, yo, that makes sense. That fits this crime of passion, jealousy, rage, anger. All of that is the type of vibes I'm getting from this case. And when they started breaking it down piece by piece, bit by bit, it made sense. That made sense. So for him to sit there and be like, I don't believe him.
And he was convicted of both murders. Before he was sentenced, Ryan went off on an hour-long rant in court in front of the judge. He again swore that he was innocent. He also accused his wife, the sister who testified against him, the police, and even the judge of lying to conspire against him. When the judge spoke, Ryan interrupted him to call him a liar. The judge told him to keep quiet or he'd get duct tape for his mouth. He then sentenced Ryan to 2 consecutive life sentences over 26 years after Rick and Gail Brinks were killed in their home. Number 1.
Your sister testifies against you. Your wife testifies against you. Detailing what you told her, where you took her. Everything's pointing to you, bro.
The murder of Susan Powell. On December 7, 2009, a daycare provider in West Valley City, Utah, became concerned when 2 boys that she cared for weren't dropped off. She called the boys' parents, Susan and Josh Powell, but they didn't answer their cell phones or their home phone. The daycare worker then got in contact with Josh's mother and sister. They alerted the police, who sent officers to the family's home. There was no one there, and one of the family's vehicles was gone. There were no signs of a break-in, and nothing had been ransacked. There were 2 fans blowing on a wet red stain on the carpet. The police questioned the family's neighbors, and one of them said that they last saw the family the day before. In the morning, 28-year-old Susan, along with the couple's 2 sons, 4-year-old Charles and 2-year-old Braden, attended a service at a ward of the Church of Latter-day Saints near their home. That afternoon, the neighbor said she visited with the family, and Susan wasn't feeling well, so she went up to have a nap at about 5 p.m. Josh then took the 2 boys out to do some sledding. Another neighbor saw Josh and the boys returned home at around 8:30. That was the last time any of the neighbors saw the family. At around 5 p.m., just hours after they had been reported missing, Josh and the kids returned home, but Susan wasn't with them.
You don't think he... I don't know. Gotta watch him. Because we've seen cases like that. And I'm not saying right now what I think, but we've seen cases where the father went off with the kids after he had done something to the mom. Just saying, just speculating so far. I don't know yet.
Josh was brought into the police station, and he said that he went camping with the boys about 25 miles away from Vernon, Utah. They left at 12:30 a.m., and Susan didn't come with them because she didn't feel well. Josh said he had no idea where she was. The police asked Josh why
Y'all buying that? You gonna leave your wife? Normally the husband ain't trying to leave the wife. Why? Because the wife is gonna see about the kids more so than the husband, right? We just spitting facts right now. So I doubt, because we ain't the best. We can handle them for about a good couple hours. And after that, mom's got to step in. Mom normally has control, right? We're there as that stern disciplinary figure. We step in when mom be like, all right, I'm gonna get your dad. And we step in for 2 minutes, give them that stern look, and then they get right. But a whole camping trip, nah, you need mom. So I don't know if I'm really buying that story.
he took the kids camping after midnight, just hours before he had to work, without telling anyone, when temperatures were below freezing and it was snowing.
Really?
He said it was because they like to do fun things. The police searched the family's home, the vehicle Josh was driving, and they interviewed Charles and Braden. The boys both confirmed that they were camping with their father. For obvious reasons, the police didn't believe Josh's story, and they knew that he killed Susan. In the days following Susan's disappearance, Josh skipped 3 interviews with the police, and he hired a defense lawyer. A week after Susan vanished, Josh was named a person of interest by the police, but he wasn't charged. On December 18th, Josh took Charles and Braden to Puyallup, Washington, to spend the holidays with his father, Susan Powell. Susan was also from Puyallup, and that is where her family lived. Before the end of the year, Josh was fired from his job, and on January 6th, he returned to the family's home in West Valley City to collect some of their possessions. Josh decided that he and the boys were going to move in with his father and then rent out the family home in West Valley City. Over the following year,
Yeah, definitely. You gotta do something. They need an income at this point, especially after getting fired.
the police put a lot of manpower and money into finding Susan, but they didn't have any luck. They didn't charge Josh with murder, and his sons continued to live with him in his father's home. Obviously, Susan's family was upset with the progress of the case. They spoke with the media several times and said that Josh was abusive, and they encouraged Susan to leave him. On the anniversary of Susan's disappearance, Josh and his father Stephen gave their theory on what happened to Susan. They said that Susan ran away with a man named Stephen Kosher. Kosher lived in St. George, Utah, and he went missing from Las Vegas a week after Susan disappeared. He has never been found. Josh and Stephen said that they went to Brazil, where Kosher had performed missionary work for the Church of Latter-day Saints. Susan's family didn't believe Josh and Stephen. They said that she was a devoted mother and would never abandon her children. And in the summer of 2011, Stephen made several strange television appearances. On July 15th, Stephen appeared on the Today Show and said he planned on publishing Susan's diaries that she wrote as a teenager. He said that the diaries showed that she was sexually open. Then, as promised, he sent out passages from her diaries to the media and uploaded them to a website. About a month later, Stephen got into a confrontation with Susan's father on a public street in Puyallup in front of a local news team. A few weeks
I knew that was bound to happen. You know what I mean? No justice for his daughter yet, and y'all running around trying to spin the narrative? Oh, yeah, It's only so long that I could be the upstanding citizen that you may know me for. When it comes to the kid, my children, though, you could really take me out of character. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know how long they expected him to stand by.
after that incident, on August 24th, Good Morning America aired an interview with Stephen and Josh. Stephen said that he had an unconventional relationship with his daughter-in-law. He said that Susan had come on to him sexually several times. He was asked if he was in love with Susan, and he said, "That's pretty likely, yeah, I think so, and there's no question in my mind that the feelings were mutual."
Wait, what? Oh my. Yo, it's they be doing some wild things out here, man. You would really do that? You would really do that? Nah, I didn't hear that. I gotta hear that again. I ain't believing that.
He was in love with Susan several times. He was asked if he was in love with Susan, and he said, "That's pretty likely. Yeah, I think so. And there's no question in my mind that the feelings were mutual." Josh was asked if he knew about his father and his wife's supposed relationship. Josh didn't confirm or deny it, and only said that Susan was very flirtatious.
Now, do y'all think this is true, or is this a father trying to take the spotlight off of his son? Because the father in his mind may think, oh man, I've lived my life. Can't let my son go down for this. It's nothing if I go, I'm older. You know what I mean? Y'all think it's more so that? Or is it the latter and this really was going down like that?
Susan's father said that the interviews and releasing the diary passages were only done to embarrass Susan. The day after the interview on Good Morning America, nearly 24 police officers raided Stephen's home, and they made some disturbing discoveries. They found 17 spiral notebooks with 2,330 pages of writing. All of it was Stephen writing about his daughter-in-law, Susan. In the passages, he details the sexual fantasies about Susan, and he expresses his love for her. On Stephen's computer, they found a folder that was labeled with Susan's initials. It contained nearly 4,500 pictures of Susan.
What the?
Almost all of them were taken without Susan even being aware that she was being photographed. Many of them were taken in public places. Often, Stephen took the photographs while he was hiding in his car. There were also photographs that were close-ups of specific body parts. The police also found videos and pictures that Stephen had secretly taken of his neighbor's children in the bathroom.
Whoa.
On September 22nd, Stephen was charged for possessing the photographs and the videos of the children and for voyeurism. Susan's father then filed for custody of Charles and Braden. He was granted temporary custody, and Josh was given supervised visitations twice a week. He was also ordered to undergo a psychiatric evaluation. Josh rented a house and went along with the court's orders. While living with their grandfather, the boys said that Josh had sexually and physically abused them. They also said that they remembered the night that their mother went missing. One of the boys said that while they were driving to the campsite, they asked where she was, and Josh said she was in the trunk. On February 1st, 2012, over 2 years after Susan went missing, a judge denied Josh custody of the boys, and he ordered Josh to take a psychosexual evaluation and a polygraph test. Just 4 days later, a social worker brought Charles, who was 7, and Braden, who was 5, to Josh's home for a visitation. When they arrived, Josh opened the door and let the boys in, but kept the social worker outside and locked the door. The social worker...
Oh, when they do that, the social worker go there by herself? What is she gonna do against this man? Like, I'm hoping, no, don't tell me she did that with 2 kids by herself instead of having like some type of police escort with her or security or something. You have to prepare for the worst. That this could possibly happen, man. There's 2 kids at stake here that have already claimed they've been assaulted.
They pounded on the door, and then suddenly, the house burst into flames.
Whoa!
The fire department and paramedics arrived a brief time later, but Josh, Charles, and Braden were dead. The police investigated.
No! Are you kidding me? No. I was just sitting here saying, how could you? No, 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 no. Oh, that hurt there. That hurt.
Investigated the fire and discovered that Josh had been planning the murder-suicide for several days. Just days before, he gave the boys' toys and books away to a charity. 20 minutes before the fire, Josh called a family member and left this voicemail.
I am not able to live without my sons. I'm sorry to everyone I've hurt. Goodbye.
There were 2 gas cans in the home, and Josh lit the fire. He then picked up a hatchet. He started to hack both boys in the head and the neck, but then he was overcome by smoke, and he didn't finish killing them. All 3 died from smoke inhalation. Months after the fire, Stephen was convicted of voyeurism, and he was sentenced to 2 years in prison. The charges stemming from possession of the pictures and the videos were dropped. 1 year and 4 days after Josh killed his 2 sons and himself,
And remember, they was ordering him psychiatric help. They could see he was unstable. Why would you proceed to go there, or why would you be allowed to take those children there without security? Just one lady against this dude?
Josh's brother and another one of Stephen's sons, Michael, died by suicide. He jumped off a parking garage. The police strongly believe that he helped his brother dispose of Susan's body. In 2014, just before Stephen was going to be released, the charges for possession of the photographs and the videos were reinstated. He was convicted and he was sentenced to an additional 5 years in prison. He was released from prison in July 2017. The police and Susan's family think that he knows where Susan's body is. Stephen says Susan is still alive and swears his son didn't kill her. One question that many people have surrounding the case is why wasn't Josh ever charged with Susan's murder? After the murder-suicide, it was revealed that the police found Susan's blood in the family's home.
Yeah, but probably no body. Is probably the reason why he wasn't charged.
In West Valley City. In the vehicle that Josh drove to go camping, the police found a generator, blankets, a gas can, tarps, and a shovel. Josh was also in possession of his wife's cell phone, which was missing its SIM card. His phone was also missing its SIM card. Finally, the police found a journal hidden in the house that was written by Susan. In her journal, she expressed fear of her husband. She wrote that if anything happened to her, then Josh was probably responsible for it. She wrote that even if it looked like an accident, Josh is still probably responsible. Obviously, if the police knew that Josh was going to kill the boys, they would have arrested him. However, since there is no statute of limitations on murder, they are probably not going to charge him until they found Susan's body. It is very rare for a murder case to go to trial without a body in the United States. If they went to trial without finding Susan's body, there would be room for reasonable doubt, and this could lead to Josh being acquitted and he would never be charged again. In the end, it was a judgment call, and unfortunately, this one had tragic consequences. Sadly, Susan Powell's body has never been found, but the police consider the case closed. Thanks a lot for watching today's video.
I just can't stop thinking about those kids, man. I just can't stop thinking about those kids, bro. That's no, man. We gotta be more safe. There's kids involved, man. We gotta be more cautious. You know? Court separated them kids from him for a reason. Now he's being allowed supervised visits. But we have got to be careful. You gotta think, man, this dude is in jeopardy of never really seeing him or having him in his possession alone again. you have to think the worst, man. Tough one, man. Y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you think, man. Till the next reaction, I'm gone. Peace.